Gentle rain on glass, a far-off train whistle, low hum of city static. The room hadn't stopped breathing. It had just slowed, like lungs pacing themselves for something deeper. Klein sat at the edge of the desk, one hand resting on the old, scarred wood. Patch was curled in the armchair, face still pale, the gem in her spine pulsing with an irregular throb like a second heartbeat. Across from them stood his sister. She hadn't introduced herself. She hadn't needed to. She carried answers in the shape of her smirk. The book sat between them all like a presence. It was no longer just an object. It was a participant. Book creaks open. Pages shift as if turning of their own accord. Patch. It doesn't let you read. No, not the way you think. She touched the first page. Symbols bled upward through the parchment, spirals folding into spirals, lines forming text that shouldn't exist in 3 dimensions. It decides what you're allowed to see. Klein leaned over. The letters looked like insect legs, then bone, then something else entirely. Good. I needed more things I can't understand. Sister, they're not letters, they're memory locks. Glyph cognition scripting. She circled the desk, pulled a monocle from her coat and lowered it over one eye. The lens blinked. No, it contracted, like a pupil. You're not supposed to look at it without a counterfocus, unless you want your dreams rewritten. That bad? She turned toward him slowly. You ever tried chewing glass while remembering your childhood correctly? That's what decoding this raw feels like. Patch whispered something unintelligible. The air around her thinned. The flame in the lamp bent sideways, not upward. Klein stood. Instinct. Moved to her. Patch. Hey. She blinked, but her eyes weren't focused. The tent breathes. The curtain is skin. All laughter becomes teeth. Sudden thump. A gust of wind inside the apartment. She slumped forward, coughing. The gem at her spine flashed. Black to red to black again. Drawers open. Papers shuffled. Klein's fingers moved fast. Too practiced. He went to his father's desk. Hadn't touched it in 5 years. One drawer resisted until it didn't. Inside, a folded note. Yellowed with age. It smelled like charcoal and cedar. His father's scent. But the handwriting wasn't his. He watches from behind the teeth. Tell the girl not to sleep. No signature. No date. No context. Just ink. Just warning. Klein dropped it into his coat. His hand trembled just once. Tap, tap, tap from the mirror. He turned. The mirror across the room was fogged from the inside. There was no heat to fog it. He crossed the space slowly. A line of salt had been placed across the base of the mirror, years ago. He didn't remember doing it. He didn't remember a lot of things. In the fog, something wrote, a single spiral, then wiped itself away. Clock ticks, distant voice of a child, then gone. Patch stirred. When I was inside the tent, they said we weren't born. We were cast. Klein crouched. You said the gem reacts to backland energy. It doesn't react, it translates. The longer I hold it, the more I remember things I know never happened. Except they did, just not here. His sister nodded once. Sister, dream caching, memory recursion, common in low-bound rituals. In English, she's bleeding parallel timeline overlap. If we're lucky, she won't dissolve when someone says her real name. Patch stared at her, then at Klein. You really trust her? No. That's why I let her in. They returned to the desk. The book had opened itself. New page, spiral in the center. Underneath, in precise lines, 3 tickets. 3 seats, but only one belongs to you. Klein traced the edge of the paper. Below the spiral, a date, this week. They're gathering. In the mountains, I remember, the town, built into the cliffs, the ground moans when you walk. Klein stared at the spiral. It felt like it was watching him. Then the light dimmed. Not the bulbs, the world. Like reality took one step back. Low tone begins, a vibrating hum from the spiral itself. Something's waking up. The apartment tilted. A breath that didn't belong passed through them. The mirror cracked, just once, a hairline fissure like the beginning of a story. And on the windowsill, placed perfectly, was a second box, striped, wrapped in wax paper. No one had seen it arrive. Klein opened it. Inside, a torn piece of circus poster. Red and gold, weathered, spiral in the corner, and written across it, opening night delayed. Final rehearsal required. Spiral pulses once, then silence. We're not investigating the case anymore. Patch looked up. We're inside it. Rain outside changes direction. Wind begins to whisper a faint melody. End of Act 1. The Echo. Gentle rain.